coming. She's just.
Hello, and welcome to Greet the Week. This program is dedicated to learning to live in the now and to experience all of life with gratitude. I am Mona Duncan. I am a instructor with the Glasser Institute for Choice Theory and also a life coach. And today's topic is about gracious past due remembrances. So I'm going to share this. And as I was working on this today, I already had the title. I thought, well, this sounds like, whenever I did not too long ago, the Better Late Than Never. But I got both outlines out. This little program is pretty much based on my past 40 years of being a public speaker, whether I would teach classes specifically or was, invited to be a speaker at a banquet or something. And anyway, I took both of the original outlines out, and the Better Late Than Never, as well as the one today on gracious past due remembrances. And although there is somewhat of an overlap, the sound bites were completely different. So I thought I'd just go ahead and share this. And Sharon is going to be the one today that kind of gives comments while we're on air. And those of you that are live will stay afterward and we can have a time to chat. So I was looking at some ways, to waylay the guilt and to face your fears. Just a couple of thoughts here that you may have thought, oh, I should have done this. I, should have done that, to have remembered something, whether it was an anniversary or a sickness or maybe a death had taken place that you failed to make formal regrets of not having, been there, that you have to try to assuage your guilt with excuses. Or, well, but it's looking at, we want to do motion or action. Now, sometimes we can have the motion of thinking about what we could do, but if we don't actually put it into action, it's not following through. So as long as you know that you remember, you matter. And if it bothers you that you're still feeling a little guilty over not having said something or done something, then you may hesitate for fear of opening fresh wounds. But remembering that the healing process is an ongoing thing. And so it's never too late to be kind. And whether the person ever thought about your lack of social etiquette or not, you just kind of have to put that out of your mind and realize that the individual will be blessed by your current act of love or your current appreciation. And an introduction, either, whether you're going to visit them or talk with them or whatever, could begin with, I've been thinking about you and the things that I've learned and how much I appreciated and how much I regretted. It's also looking at the fact that some is better than none. Meaning that it's those small attempts. Little things really do mean a lot. Sometimes we think they might not, but they really do. And then also that belated words are better than continued silence. So go ahead and muster the courage to speak up.
That's a hard one for me, Mona. When it comes to that point of remembering, and then if I've forgotten and let it slip a little time-wise, it's really hard for me to be able to go ahead and continue that. You're muted. You're muted, Mona.
Thank you.
You were just talking away.
Yeah, right. That a
Yeah.
few belated words are better than the continued silence.
Mhm.
And then a small gesture of remembrance is better than the grand plans that we didn't follow through on.
Mhm.
And so it's just remembering that we won't be opening wounds. And even if you do, even if a few tears are shed, it's okay. That simply that belated emotion, the mentioning the loved one's name, can bless the family and alleviate your guilt. It's a twofer that it would help, that it would do both and. And it's realizing that our loved one's name is music to our ears. I know in our congregation, in our church services, every year there is an honoring of the deceased, an honoring of the saints that have gone on before. And because of the pandemic and everything, well, the place was even shut down for a long time. And so just a few Sundays ago said it doesn't have to be honoring those loved ones just within the past year, but to go on back until the beginning of the pandemic. And so it was really a delight to add my sister who died 2 years ago, right at the beginning of the pandemic, not from the coronavirus, but and then we also had a first cousin that was killed in Afghanistan. And so I went ahead and put that just a couple of weeks ago. And the honoring of that always brings such a blessing. So if it is a past due exchange, think about what you'll say and kind of practice it. I know whenever I was working at the Fresh Start Center, and there was a board member that was very, very active in working with the inmates that passed away, and there was not a formal acknowledgement of it. And the director and I, several months later, visited with the widow and his two daughters and took a beautiful potted plant to them and a card that had been signed by all of the board members. And it was just a really special time to meet with them together, and they were certainly more thankful. And that whenever you do, regardless of the amount of time that has elapsed, don't even mention that time having elapsed. We spoke of how the man's influence continued to bless the individuals who knew him, and how that even the inmates continued to talk about him, that what an influence he had been on their lives and how they had been blessed by him. And then in future encounters, when you just somehow bring up the person's name or the loved one's value to the family and the friends, to kind of share some stories of heroics or misadventures so that you can laugh and cry together or commiserate together and remember. And to graciously receive thanks. That whenever the other, the one to whom you are making the past due amends, to just graciously receive their expression of gratitude. And that the thing of it is do not discount your effort because you think you were acting out of guilt. In all simplicity, a gift is a gift, whether it is verbal or whether it's material or whether it's something that was sent or something that was said.
I think sometimes, Mona, that gift is one we give maybe just naturally and don't realize it at the time, but then the impact of whatever we've done shows on their face or their words,
Exactly. And even though you know, you can see things be expressed that can't be expressed in words.
Right.
Right.
Mhm.
And then even make a tribute of some kind in their honor. That
Mm.
the past cannot be relived, but the present is always available. So a caring expression is never out of place, whether that is an ongoing thing or not. And you know, you can do something like plant a tree in a person's name. I know during many times the inmates that came through the Fresh Start Center, what they were early releases that if they worked with program compliance could be released early back into society. And just the amount of them that had not been able to attend a special event, whether it was a graduation or a wedding, or in their sorrow over not being able to be at someone's funeral, and how I helped them through various ways. One, you know, was by actually writing a letter, helping them to compose a letter that they could send, but maybe planting a tree somewhere, whether it's in their yard or somewhere else that could be in honor of the person, and then sending an acknowledgement to the family members to know about it. And then also to donate to charity in their memory, or to send flowers to the hospital, but always as a remembrance, to do something physical, do something, you know, going back to the action as well as the motion, not just the thinking about it, but the actual doing. And then, I know I have a friend that keeps a picture of her neighbor's deceased son on her piano. And to her, this is a silent memorial that whether they come over or not, that, yeah, someone is remembering my child and what a wonderful person they were.
Mm.
And then always, 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 whether it's late or on time or whatever, you do it with regards, not with regrets. And we don't even want to mention those regrets right up front. That's the fact that I've been thinking about. And so I'm going to finish up here with just a little poem that I wrote back as a remembrance of someone that I was kind of guilty over, and send it to him. If I would paint a rainbow every time I think of you, my world would soon become a lovely golden hue. But if I never tell you, then how are you to know how much your life has touched me and helped me off to grow? So may this gesture wing its flight your way to cheer you up on sunless days when skies may be gray. And
Very
so,
nice.
thank you. So whether it is immediate, whether it is a short length of time, whether it is a long length of time, it's realizing that the remembering and the bringing up and the acknowledging can mean so very much. So give some thought to that. And especially if you're still thinking about it, then that's an indication of, let's put some action to it.
That's a very good point to have at the end, Mona, and for us to take with it. If we're still thinking about it, we need to act.
Yes, yes.
We really do.
Thank you, Sharon, first. And for all of you that are here, and we'll close this out and wish you many blessings.